So you're looking at a stage with maybe 100 expert musicians,
Right. People who have spent their entire lives mastering an instrument.
and they all have the sheet music in front of them. So why is there one person, dead center, who isn't playing anything at all, just waving their arms?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's funny, if you have a small group, like a string quartet,
Yeah.
they can get by with just a nod or a look.
They can cue each other.
Exactly. But once you scale that up to a full orchestra, you absolutely need a single central point of command.
A guide.
A guide, yeah. The conductor is basically the bridge between the written notes on the page and the actual sound that you hear in the hall.
And it's a huge coordination challenge, right? I mean, every musician's looking down at their music, but they also have to watch the conductor.
Constantly. It's an incredible amount of processing, both visual and auditory, happening all at once. Without that leader, getting everyone to start, stop, and stay perfectly together would be, well, basically impossible.
So where do they start? Is it about getting the timing right first or the volume?
It absolutely starts with the foundation, which is the speed.
The tempo.
The tempo, that's probably the single most important job.
Yeah.
Deciding the correct speed for a piece can completely change its mood.
How so?
Well, if it's too fast, a dramatic piece might sound almost silly, too slow, and something exciting could just become boring.
I've heard that pros are really precise about this. They measure it in beats per minute or BPM.
Oh, absolutely. The difference between 68 and 72 BPM might not sound like much, but it can be the difference between a good performance and a great one.
So how do they show that speed?
They use specific geometric patterns with their hands.
Like a set of moves for the beat.
A very clear pattern. For most common music, it's 4 beats per bar, so you'll see a down and a cross-up pattern.
Down and across it.
And that first downward motion is the most important one. It's called the ictus.
The ictus.
Yeah, it marks the exact start of the new bar. It's the big reset button that keeps everyone locked in together.
And that pattern changes if the music changes, like for a waltz.
Exactly. A waltz is in 3, so the pattern switches to a triangle. The musicians are trained to read that geometry instantly.
Okay, but what if the music needs to speed up or slow down gradually to build tension?
Then the gestures change. To speed up, the conductor will often make their movements bigger, faster, more energetic.
And to slow down.
They'll make them smaller, more controlled. It's all visual. And that consistency is everything, because one small mistake in timing can, well, the whole thing can fall apart.
So once they have the timing locked down, then it's about the quality of the sound.
Yes. Next up is volume control, which has a technical name, dynamics.
Dynamics. So how loud or soft the music is?
Precisely. And just like with tempo, the conductor communicates this with the size of their gestures.
So if you see them making huge, sweeping motions with their arms.
That's the signal for everyone to play loud, powerfully. We call that forte.
And the opposite.
Very small, tight, controlled motions, maybe just from the wrist. That's the signal for pianissimo play. Very, very quietly, almost a whisper.
But it's more complicated than just loud or quiet, isn't it? It's a balancing act.
It's a constant balancing act.
I mean, you have these really powerful trombones and drums in the back. How do you stop them from just completely drowning out the flutes?
That is the art of it. The conductor is listening in real time. If the brass section is getting too loud and covering up the strings, the conductor will signal them right then and there to back off.
What does that look like?
They might look right at them and use a hand gesture, almost like they're pushing the sound down. It's this constant adjustment that creates that perfectly blended sound for you, the audience.
And what about signals for specific players? You know, when one instrument has been silent for a long time and needs to come in.
Ah, the cue. Yes.
The cue.
Imagine you're a horn player and you've been sitting there silently counting for 200 bars of music.
That sounds incredibly stressful.
It is, and the cue is the conductor's way of saying, I've got you. You're coming up now.
So how do they do it? Just point.
It's very direct. A few beats before they need to play, the conductor will make eye contact. Then right on the beat, they'll give a clear gesture or even point directly at that player or section. It gives the musician confidence so they don't miscount.
Now let's talk about the tools. Most conductors use that little white stick, the baton. Why? Can't the musicians just see their arms?
The baton is really just an extension of the arm. It makes the movements clearer.
For the people in the back.
Exactly. For the percussionists or the bass players way at the back of the stage, the tip of that baton is a much clearer, more precise point to follow than just a hand.
And I read they're super lightweight.
They have to be, usually wood or carbon fiber. Imagine waving something heavy for 90 minutes straight. Your arm would get exhausted and your movements would get sloppy.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
But beyond the baton, it's all silent communication.
Yeah.
They can't just shout instructions.
Not during a performance, no. Everything is visual, and a huge part of that is their facial expression.
It's not just smiling or frowning.
No, it's about showing the character of the music. A stern, focused look for a serious part, or a light smile to encourage a happier, brighter sound. They are literally acting out the emotion of the music.
And what about the other hand? If the right hand and the baton are busy with the beat?
The left hand is the hand of expression.
Uh,
While the right hand keeps time, the left hand shapes the sound. It might ask for a warmer tone or signal a crescendo.
so like a shimmering motion might mean.
It could be a request for vibrato from the strings to make the sound richer. Every part of their body is part of the message.
For any of that to work, the conductor has to know the layout of the stage, the geography of the orchestra. Perfect.
Oh, absolutely. And that layout isn't random.
What do you mean?
Well, the strings are always in the front because they're a bit quieter and their sound needs to project. The woodwinds are in the middle.
And the loud instruments go in the back.
Exactly. The brass and the percussion are in the back, so their sound blends with everyone else instead of just blasting the audience.
Which is why the conductor stands on that little raised platform, the podium.
Right. It lets them see everyone, even over the front rows. They need to be able to direct a cue to the third horn player without having to search for them.
So a lot of this is set up before the performance. But the real work, the really intense work, happens long before the audience even arrives.
Months before, sometimes. It starts with one thing, the score.
And the score is basically the master blueprint for the music.
It is. It's a huge book with every single note for every single instrument, all laid out on the page. A conductor doesn't just read it. They live in it for weeks, sometimes months.
What are they looking for? Are they just memorizing notes?
It's much deeper than that. They're analyzing the structure, the harmony, deciding which musical lines should be the main focus at any given moment.
And that leads to their interpretation.
Yes, this is where the art comes in. This is how two different conductors can lead the exact same piece of music and make it sound completely different. One might see a passage as aggressive, another might see it as majestic.
And the orchestra just has to adapt to whichever interpretation is on the podium that day.
They have to be incredibly flexible. That's why rehearsals are so critical.
That's where the conductor really teaches their vision for the piece.
Yes. They'll stop the music constantly. They might ask the violins to play a line more smoothly or have the cellos bring out a certain harmony.
So they're coaching.
They're coaching, they're teaching, they're explaining their vision. By the time the concert happens, all 100 of those musicians should understand exactly what they're trying to achieve, not just technically, but emotionally.
Let's touch on the history of this role, because it wasn't always so quiet and refined.
Not at all. Back in the day, the leader was often just the main violinist or whoever was playing the harpsichord.
But as the orchestras got bigger,
And the music got more complex, you needed one person whose only job was to lead.
and didn't they used to use a giant staff to pound the beat on the floor?
They did, which was, loud and distracting. There's a famous, if gruesome, story about a conductor named Jean-Baptiste Lully who got so carried away he stabbed his own foot with the staff.
No way.
Yeah, and the wound got infected and he actually died. Talk about a tough gig.
Wow. Okay, so thankfully they switched to the silent baton.
Thankfully. Which brings us to what might be the highest skill a conductor needs today. Something called inner hearing.
Inner hearing. What's that?
It's the ability to hear the perfect version of the music in your head while you are simultaneously listening to the real live sound the orchestra is making.
So they're comparing the ideal to the reality in real time.
Constantly, and their brain is instantly flagging any tiny mistake.
Like one flute being a little out of tune.
Or a trumpet coming in just a split second too early. They hear it, identify it, and know how to fix it. It's an incredible skill.
So in the end, the conductor is so much more than just a human metronome.
So much more. It's this intense combination of being a historian, a communicator, a teacher, all to bring the composer's vision to life for you.
It's a huge responsibility.
Right.
And it really all happens without them saying a single word once the music starts.
That's the magic of it.
Well, this has been fascinating. Thanks for breaking it all down.
My pleasure.
See you next time.